Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. In today's video, I will show you how I made this fabric applique design using HTV. Come on y'all, let's get started. For this project, you are going to need fabric of your choice, a t-shirt, HTV in the color of your choice, and you're going to need Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. I will leave a link to all of the items in the description box below. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type the word pray. To type the word pray, on the left-hand menu bar, I'm going to select text. The text box will pop open and I'm going to type pray. I'm going to click anywhere on the canvas and this is my word. Next, I'm going to select my font. Now I want to select something that is bold, so I'm going to go on to the top menu bar and I'm going to select the drop down menu under font. And I want to use a font that is on my computer, so I'm going to select System. And this is only going to show the fonts that is on my computer. And I'm going to scroll down to the font that I want to use, or I can type it in here. So I want to use the font Fava, F-A-V-A. This is the font that I want to use. So I'm going to select the font and then I'm going to click back onto the canvas. Now once I've selected my font, I'm going to size the word pray to a size that I want my design to be. Since I want this part of the design to stand out more, I am going to size this to a 10.5. To size it, I'm going to select the font and then select the word pray, and then on the top menu under size, I am going to change the width to 10.5. I am going to leave the lock proportion locked so that when the word sizes, it's going to size proportionately. And so I'm going to enter 10.5 in the width box, and then I'm going to hit enter, and the word is going to size proportionately for the design. Now, as you can see, the R and the A are touching, and I don't want that to touch. And so to make sure that they're not touching, I am going to adjust my letter spacing. And to adjust the letter spacing, I'm going to go up to the top menu under letter spacing. And here you can select the up or down arrows to adjust the space between your letters. I want my letters to have more space between them, so I'm going to select the up arrow until I reach the desired spacing. And so I'm going to hit the up arrow until I get the spacing that I want. You can also highlight and type in a number. So I'm going to type in 2 and hit enter. And so I think that this is good enough for me. I mean, it's a little spaced out, but I'm fine with it like that. Now that I have my letter spaced to my liking, I need to resize the width back to 10.5. So I'm going to select the word pray again. And again, while keeping the proportion locked, I'm going to type 10.5 in the width and hit enter. And so that you can see what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to change the color to yellow. And this color will represent the fabric. So again, on the top menu, I'm going to select the color swatch that is next to operation. And then I'm going to select the yellow color. Once I select my color, I'm going to click anywhere on the canvas and come back to the word pray. Next, I need to create my applique outline. To do that, I am going to start by making an offset. To make the offset, I'm going to select the word, and then I am going to go back to the top menu and I'm going to select offset. I want to add an external offset, and to add an external offset, I am going to change my distance. Remember, an external offset has a positive number. So I'm going to change my distance to 0.08, and I'm just going to type it in up here. But you can also use the slider bar to change your offset to your liking as well. And then after I type it in, I'm just going to click in this little white area right here so that I can see the offset take effect before I go to the next step. So the next step is to choose a corner. The corner I want it to match my letters, and my letters have sharp corners, so I'm going to select the sharp corners. And then once I've done that, I am going to select apply. So after creating the external offset, I'm going to slice the yellow layer from the black layer. And to slice, I'm going to select both the black and the yellow layer. And on the right side at the bottom of the layers panel, I am going to select slice. It is the first icon on the bottom of the layers panel. After I slice, I am going to select the yellow layer. And then on the right side of the layers panel, you can see that the yellow layer is highlighted. And here I am going to select the little eyeball here, and I'm going to turn this layer off. Then I'm going to select the inner portion of the black layer, and I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. And then back on the right panel, on the right side in the layers panel, I'm going to unhide the yellow layer. And I did that by selecting the eyeball. Now for my design, I want to cover a little bit of the fabric with the HTV. And to do that, I am going to create an internal offset. But before I make the internal offset, I'm going to duplicate the yellow layer. So to duplicate the yellow layer, I'm going to select the yellow layer. And then on the right side menu bar, I am going to go to the top of the layers panel, and I'm going to select duplicate. And that would be the middle icon here. And then I'm just going to move it out the way. And then on the right menu bar again, I'm going to select the eyeball so that I can hide that layer. So now that I've duplicated the yellow layer, I'm going to add the internal offset to the yellow layer that is still on the screen. So to add the internal offset, I am going to select the yellow layer. And on the top menu, I'm going to go to offset. And so to create an internal offset, your distance needs to be a negative number. So again, you can slide the circle across to the left of the bar, but I am going to type it in and change my distance to a negative 0.8. A negative 0.08. And then I'm going to click into this little bar here, the white area right here. I'm going to make sure that I have sharp corners, and then I'm going to select apply. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to change this internal offset to pink. So I'm going to go up to the color swatch in operations, and I'm going to select the pink. And then I'm going to select anywhere on the canvas. After creating the internal offset, I am going to slice the pink layer from the yellow layer. So I'm going to move the black layer out of the way. And to get it out of the way, I'm just going to select the black layer. Selecting the black layer. Let me zoom in a little. And I'm going to select the black layer. And then I'm going to go to the panel, the layers panel, and on the right hand side, and you can see that the black layer is highlighted, and I'm going to hit the eye to hide the black layer. Then I'm going to select the pink and the yellow layer, and on the bottom of the layers panel, I am going to select slice. Now that I've sliced it, I'm going to go and I'm going to select the pink layer, and I'm going to delete that layer because I don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to select the inner portion of the yellow layer, and I'm going to delete that as well because I don't need it. I'm going to go back to the right hand side of my menu bar on the layers panel, and I am going to unhide the black layer. Next, I am going to select both the black and the yellow layer. And on the right hand side at the bottom of the menu bar, I am going to select the drop down menu next to combine, and I'm going to hit weld. Now, to ensure that everything fit, I am going to select the black layer, and then on the top menu bar under operation, I'm going to select the drop down menu, and I am going to go down to the bottom, and I am going to select guide. Then I am going to go over to my right menu bar, and on the layers panel, I am going to select the yellow layer that we had hidden, which was the duplicate. We hid it, so I'm going to unhide it by selecting the eye, and then I'm going to position it, select it. Okay, Cricut. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to move it up into the guide. And as you can see, with the red line covering the fabric slightly, you can see that my applique outline will cover part of my fabric. Okay, so now that we see that the fabric fit, I'm going to select the guide again. Come on, Cricut. I'm going to select the guide again, and I'm going to turn it back to a basic cut. And so to do that, I am going to go up to operations, and I'm going to select basic cut. And that's going to make it ready so that we can cut it. The yellow is the fabric, and the black will be the HTV. So now we're ready to make it, but before we hit make it, I want to add some additional text to the word pray. So I'm going to zoom back out, and then I'm going to add the additional words, the additional text to the design. I've added the additional text, and so now we are ready to go to make it. But before we go to make it, I am going to need to prep my fabric. So to prep your fabric, you need to have fabric of your choice, and you need to have some heat and bond. So what you want to do is you want to apply your heat and bond to the back of your fabric. So what I've done is I've cut down a piece of the fabric that I chose, and I've cut it slightly larger then my word prayer, and I cut a piece of heat and bond the same size as my fabric. And again, both pieces are slightly bigger than the actual word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fabric over, and I am going to place the heat bond. There's a rough side and then there's a paper side. You want to place the rough side down on the back of your fabric. So I'm going to put this piece of parchment paper to protect my mat, just in case I don't get it quite even. So I am going to put the heat bond down on the fabric, and I have my heat press set at 305 degrees for 4 seconds. And so I am going to press the heat bond onto the back of the fabric for 4 seconds. So when using the heat and bond, you want to always remember to utilize the instructions that are provided on the package. Okay, but for me, I use the 305 temperature for 4 seconds. So now I have my fabric and it's cooled down. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to apply the fabric and the bonded fabric to the mat. I am going to leave my paper on because this mat is really, really sticky, and I don't want it to pull up the sticky part off of my fabric. So I'm just gonna place it with the fabric, the good side of the fabric facing up. I'm just gonna place it on the mat, and then we're ready to cut. So now that I have my fabric prepped, I can go to make it. So before I go to make it, I'm just going to make sure that my black layers are attached because I want them to cut out on the HTV just as they are on the screen. And so to attach them, I am going to select I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to select the black outline, and then I'm going to select on it. And then on the right menu bar on the bottom of the layers panel, I'm going to select attach. Now that that's done, I'm going to select make it. Here on this screen, I have two mats. The black mat is the HTV mat, and this is the mat that I'm going to cut the HTV out of. And so because I am cutting HTV, I need to turn the mirror on. The next mat is the yellow mat. This mat is the mat for the fabric. And because this is fabric and we're going to be transferring this to the shirt with transfer tape or something like transfer tape, we don't need to mirror this, the fabric mat. And so we're going to go on to the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to select continue. Once I have my mat set up, I am now going to select the HTV mat, and I am going to use the setting Everyday Iron On. And then I am going to place this on I'm going to place the HTV on the mat with the shiny side down. And once I do that, I'm going to cut this, and then I'll be back. For the fabric mat, I am going to be using my maker. And I am going to use the medium fabric. setting with the rotary blade. If you are using the Explore Air 2, typically felt wool bonded and default pressure is a good setting. However, you need to also keep in mind the age of your blade and the condition of your blade. So I'm going to change my setting here. I'm going to select there. I'm going to go over to Browse, and I'm going to type in the search bar, fabric. And then I'm going to look for the medium. So I have the medium fabric setting, light cotton, and it's bonded. So I'm going to select that one, and then I'm going to select done. So now I have my project all cut out. So I have my HTV cut out, and I have my bonded fabric cut out. And so now I need to assemble it. To assemble it, you would just take your fabric piece and you would place it inside of the HTV, and you want to make sure you lay it down, make sure it's even on all sides, and you would just place it down into the HTV like that and give it a little press. Now, because the HTV is sticky, your fabric is going to stick as well. And once you get your letter in, then you just want to peel off the paper backing. So you want to assemble all of your letters like that. And when you put them down, you want to just make sure that you don't have any gaps in between the letters and the fabric. You want to make sure that it's totally covered so there are no gaps. So that's how you're going to attach the fabric to the HTV, just like that. Okay, so here I am at the heat press, and I have the t-shirt on the press already. I've lint rolled it, I've pre-pressed it to remove the moisture, and I have the design placed on the t-shirt 3 inches down from the bottom of the collar. I have my heat press set on 350 degrees for 30 seconds. I think it's pretty. I like the fabric. I think it's pretty. What you guys think? I'm going to give it a second press. So I'm going to get my Teflon sheet, and I'm going to give it a second press so I can make sure that the HTV is properly adhered to the shirt. So I'm going to put my Teflon sheet down, and I'm going to press it again. All right, y'all. So what do you guys think? Huh? I think it's pretty. What do you think? All right, guys. that's all for now. I hope that you were able to follow along with my process. If you liked this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.